Guys, listen. It's getting wild out here, okay? It's truly getting wild. Let me tell you why. Look at this list here. This is the draft list. I'm going to show you my screen right there. Look at those countries, okay? That's the draft list of countries that the U.S. wants to ban. We have a few segments we're going to get to in this video, but on top of that ban, we also have the fact that Americans have new travel requirements for the EU as well. Now, you're watching Journey with Us, a digital nomad family that travels throughout Southeastern Africa as serial entrepreneurs and digital nomads. We own a finance and real estate marketing agency, and we invest in hedging our investments through gold, stocks, crypto, all the things. But y'all, this is wild. Let me tell you that. This is wild. And this ban, I'm going to think about it from a global perspective because it doesn't just impact Africa and parts of the Caribbean and parts of Asia. It also impacts, you need to look at it holistically. This also impacts the way that Americans are going to be able to travel to Europe or are not going to be able to travel to Europe, which obviously is going to impact trade, relationships, geopolitically, just a lot of things, which also makes me grateful that I live in a country like Mauritius, Africa. Again, it's like the Sweden of Africa. They really don't pick sides. They're really neutral in these times. It's good to be somewhere that's neutral, that's not so, one way or the other way. That way you can have a sense of peace and stability for your family if you have a family. Again, if you have children, a spouse, you're probably going to move different than people that are single that maybe have more risk tolerance. If you have multiple children, it's like the more children you have, the less risk tolerance you develop towards some of these tensions, okay? But on the flip side, the other side of it is that countries like Burkina Faso, Sierra Leone, Benin, if you look at it, these are also countries, and I'm not saying this is exactly why, Liberia as well, that have historically, whether in recent times or, not so recent times, have actually aided the African diaspora in returning to Africa. That is something to look into. My husband and I were talking about that, like, hey, some of these countries on this list, like Sierra Leone, Liberia, Gambia, who also promotes, visa-free for all Africans. Cape Verde, another wonderful country we've talked about that also has a digital nomad visa. Angola is one of the most pricey countries, but that also tells me that they have a thriving economy. They have an economy that is not dependent too much on the West. And so these are things to look out for. But I do want to read all of the countries on this list. I took this screenshot of the draft list of proposed travel ban countries. Let's get a definition for travel ban though. Travel ban means that these citizens who want to go to America will not be able to go to America unless they meet certain requirements. Okay, that's what travel ban means. Okay, it's not necessarily for Americans, but it does impact dual citizenship. If you're someone who has dual citizenship for Sierra Leone in America, for Gambia in America, for Angola in America, for Dominica, for Congo, for Chad, for St. Kitts, for St. Lucia, they're basically going to be eyeballing you a bit closer. When you're abroad, you already have to have your requirements as far as taxes are concerned. One of our clients in the agency is probably the best tax firm that exists on the East Coast, to be quite honest. And, we write her copy, we write her marketing campaigns, and we've been able to actually get an in-depth look into what this looks like and what type of systems they track so that you can make the best decisions, okay? And so when I look at this list of countries, it also makes me think these are probably countries where they're going to be looking a little bit closer. Although they have fired a lot of IRS employees, they're probably going to be looking at these countries closer, wherever American citizens are there, just to monitor what they're doing, because Uncle Sam loves to do that. So be aware of that. That's a theory that I have based off my years of experience. And, I'm going to say that that's a definite possibility. That's something they'll do if you look at history. But we have three categories, okay? We have the red, which is all travel is banned from those countries. Meaning if you are an Afghanistan person of Afghanistan descent, of Bhutan descent, of Cuban, Iranian, Libyan, North Korean, Somalian, Sudanese. These red countries, you know, as well as Venezuela and Yemen, people in those countries are not going to be able to go to America, period. That's the red all travel ban. The next phase is orange, okay? Orange visas are sharply restricted, meaning if you are from Belarus, Eritrea, Haiti, Laos, Myanmar. Laos and Myanmar are in Asia. Pakistan is also in Asia. Russia, y'all know where Russia is, Sierra Leone, South Sudan, and Turkmenistan. You are going to be restricted from entering America. If you have dual citizenship from Sierra Leone, from Haiti, from some of these places, they're probably going to be monitoring and doing some odd things. This is why this is why this is so important. I want to intercede and talk about our sponsor, Black Educators Amplified, which is an 8-week accelerator taking you from new entrepreneur, new online business consultant to thriving online consultant that can make money from anywhere at any time, based on you choosing a specific niche. Weeks 1 and 2 of the program, we go over the 20-question framework, which is a journalistic style method that we use. This is our method, our proprietary technique that we use in Tiffy G Wright's marketing agency of 9 years. We use this to create content marketing strategies, aka your roadmap to make revenue in your business. Weeks 3 and 4, we create your website copy. Weeks 5 and 6, we teach you video and email marketing. Weeks 7 and 8, you graduate and you launch, and you're able to get clients right out the gate, okay? But this is why Black Educators Amplified is so important, because our community needs to be in a self-reliant space. You cannot depend on 9-to-5s. You cannot depend on America any longer, okay? America can't even depend on America, okay? And so you need to be an entrepreneur. You need to be forward thinking. This is why we're able to live a digital nomad lifestyle, okay? Because we're not dependent on a W-2. I haven't worked a W-2 in 9, almost 10 years, okay? My W-2 is my business. I'm on payroll from my business. Our business employs other people across the diaspora, across Africa, okay? And so these are things that you need to be doing, especially when we see these geopolitical ties shifting quickly. So now let's go to the yellow. These yellow countries have 60 days to report concerns. I'm not sure what that means for Trump. Perhaps that means, you know, maybe they have talks behind the scenes, you know, whatever they talk about. I'm not sure what they talk about. But this is a long list. We have Angola, Antigua and Barbuda, which is in the Caribbean, Benin, Burkina Faso, Cambodia. Again, Benin just announced that they're going to potentially do citizenship for African Americans. We have Cameroon, Cape Verde, Chad, the Republic of Congo, the Democratic Republic of Congo, 2 separate places, Dominica, Equatorial Guinea, again in West Africa, Gambia, Liberia, Malawi, Mali, Mauritania, which is in Northwest Africa, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, Sao Tome and Principe, again an island in West Africa, Vanuatu, an island near like Australia and the Pacific Ocean. They have a phenomenal digital nomad visa, by the way, and Zimbabwe. We're in interesting times. How many countries? Let's count these countries together. We got a list of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44 countries on a proposed travel ban. What does this mean? Leave a comment down below. Let us know what you think. Let us know if you believe these are normal times. This just something like, it's like, hey, it's cool, you know, travel ban, you know, ban everybody. And on top of that, remember what I said at the beginning of the video when I was talking about the fact that the EU is also making it a little bit more difficult for Americans to go to Europe. Historically, Americans could pretty much get in visa-free to Europe, could pretty much do whatever it is they wanted to do in Europe pretty easily. They would just pop up visa-free 60, 90 days, in some cases 6 months. And then once you're in Europe, it's very simple to travel Europe because Europe does not have the barriers to entry the way that Africa does. And so if you have an EU visa, a lot of times you can cross those borders as if you're crossing from Ohio to Indiana, from Indiana to Illinois, from Florida to Georgia, from Georgia to Tennessee. Okay? So they functionally operated in the EU as states, where they could just drive through and do all of that. They still do that within their own community, but it looks like it's going to be just a bit harder for Americans to do that. Again, we are only a few months into the Trump presidency. We're in Q1 for all the entrepreneurs out there. It's Q1 of the year. We're still in Q1, the first quarter. We have 4 quarters in a year, and we need to start asking, what does this look like for the long haul? And so if you're someone, you've been investing in cruises, vacations, you've been investing in pleasure and entertainment, this is the ideal time to ask yourself, is it really time for entertainment? Or is it time to start to bootstrap, to invest in my business, to invest in knowledge, to invest in what I need to invest in to further my legacy and make sure that I'm safe outside of America? Because we can tell where your values are based on where you put your money. If your money isn't going into developing your business over and over, and it's going into cruises and entertainment, then, you know, that's what you value. And that's no shade, no problem. That's, you know, that's your decision. But we are making decisions that are going to last our children a lifetime. Decisions that when our children rise up and they turn 25, they turn 30, they turn 35, they're going to say, wow, mom and dad put us in an excellent position. I can honestly say that about my own parents and about my own dad. Like, wow, he sacrificed so much, gave us a phenomenal inheritance that his grandchildren can eat off of. And most people don't do that in our community, let's just be honest. Gave us a phenomenal inheritance that his grandchildren were able to eat off of. Even though he passed away at the age of 54, he was willing to sacrifice and be diligent for his children to reach the next level. And here we are, reaching that next level. And so I hope that your children and your descendants will be able to say the same thing about you, to rise up and call you blessed, because I can truly say with gladness and thankfulness in my heart that my father left a beautiful inheritance that got me to where I am today, to be quite honest. Maybe I'll talk about that on Members Only. Leave a comment down below if you want me to dive deeper into that. But until the next video, shalom, shalom. Make wise decisions that you are going to be thankful for 6 months, 12 months, 24 months, a year from now. Make the decision that counts in global famine. Make the decision that counts in a recession. Make the decision that your children and your nieces and nephews in your community are going to be thankful for years to come. Shalom, shalom.